Welcome back to Box 2 with myself, Jamie Jones-Buchanan, in partnership with Best Western Hotels GB, who in 2025 are still rolling out their Year of the Free Breakfast campaign. To get yours and to find out more, visit bestwestern.co.uk/free breakfast. Right, in Box 2, we've got a local legend, one of my local heroes growing up, a 1977 and 78 Challenge Cup winner, the Baron of Bramley, and potentially the biggest ex-rugby playing rugby league fan in the world, Roy Dickinson. Roy, always a privilege to listen to your stories. We're not going to get through even a quarter of them, nowhere near scratching the surface today. But we've been chatting a little bit earlier, and it's a good job of grabbing you because you might be going to Australia soon. It's going to be perhaps final destination.
Well, it's not a might. I am going. I'm going in January. I've already booked it now. And I'm going on the boat from Southampton.
Wow.
All the way to Fremantle, Perth for 6 weeks. And I've upgraded to the all-inclusive drinks package, which has cost me £40 a day, so I'm going to try and get my money's worth if I can.
Brilliant. So that was an intentional decision then to go on the boat. And have you done it before?
Not on the boat, no.
Yeah, that's mad.
I've been to Australia 15, 16 times now. But I just thought, well, if it's my last one, I'm going to go in style. And because I've no intention of coming back if I get my visa sorted. I have a daughter out there and 2 grandchildren, and my youngest daughter, she's put her house up for sale. She's going.
Yep.
So, why not? And then go live with them and let them look after me for a change.
Mate, I imagine you've got a shipping container full of shirts because you are a massive Leeds fan, aren't you? Whenever I look on social media, I'm not on socials, but whenever I see Roy, people send me photographs all the time, mate. And you might be in Amazon River, you could be in Ganges with locals. You've always got a Leeds shirt on. You travel the world with it.
Well, I used to buy them from the shop at the, reduced price when the last season stuff or season before, and there's blokes walking around Brazil with Leeds Rhinos tops and they ain't got a clue what they are like, but about 10 sizes too big for them. But I do that all over because it's a talking point with some people, and what's that? And I say, I've got you one, and that's what it spread the word, yeah.
And you've just sold the motorbike as well. A lot of fans will know you.
Yes, I unfortunately had to start moving stuff, and the bike had to go. It broke my heart actually because I'd loved that bike. I've had it 7 years and I've only done 12,000 miles on it. Trips around Europe, just about everywhere. But no, he had to go, and so has a lot of other things. But that's how it is.
Fair enough. Let's talk about Leeds Rhinos this year. Your biggest Leeds Rhinos fan. You've always been there in the stands supporting us. And we'll chat about why some ex-players fall out of love with the game. You've always seemed to be in love with the game. But what have you made of 2025?
It's a bit of a hit and miss, isn't it, I think, really. I mean, they play well one week and then the other week they make so many mistakes and they drop the ball, and he's so frustrated, but the tackling's been great, the defence has been great, and then last week that drop goal we missed, and then they come down the field at Wakefield and drop goal, and that's heads just go down, and, disappointing, but I think they'll get there, new batch of players, aren't they? But I mean, that team that you played was more or less the same as the team that I played. We all stuck together for 10 years, and that helps. But when you're swapping and changing like we're doing now, I don't think they get time to settle.
Yeah.
Plus with different coaches as well and different ideas, and but I still enjoy it. Yeah.
I love that. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Those two differing golden generations at two different periods of times, as well as the coach, Roy Francis, who you once described as being a wonderful individual. His book, Tony Collins, the author, coming out recently. You're going to Perth. Yeah. The talk of Brad Arthur originally was linked with Perth. We don't know what's going on, by the way, because this is back end of July as we're recording it now, hence the reference there to Mason Lino breaking all our hearts last week against Wakefield. But Brad Arthur, his impact has been pretty phenomenal, hasn't it, this year?
Yeah, he's done as good as he was able to do, I would believe. I suppose every coach wants to do as good as they can, and even the players, they want to play the best they can. So, I mean, when we played, really, it didn't matter who was the coach, I thought, because we all knew what we was doing, and everybody. And if you didn't, David Ward got onto you, and then John Holmes would get onto you, and when we all did his job, really. So, and the coach got all the recognition, but we had some great coaches here,
There might be some clues in there, because I played with some players who got older you as well, who we all knew what we were doing.
Oh, that's right. We do this and we do that and we do this and we do it. I used to say to John Holmes, what do you want us to do? He said, I don't even want started yet. And I saw his that, you know, and he used to work it out as it went along, you know, and brilliant, like, you know, and they could see things that were going to happen. And he put you in the right position, tell you where to go and all that. And you know what to do, basically, anyway. Like, everybody seemed to know what they were doing, and just everything slotted into place, you know.
Yeah.
And if you did something wrong, everybody's laughing at you and taking a mickey, you know. You didn't get a rollicking because we're all friends, you know, it's good.
That's important.
And then get out of it, you know, and come back and make up for it.
There was one coach you once said to me was ahead of his time, though, when he came to Leeds, and it's the great man here, Roy Francis.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, with Billy Boston recently getting that knighthood and representing a demographic from South Wales there's some real history and heritage in Roy Francis' story. If anybody's not read that yet, I would highly recommend it. But give us an insight into the guy that coached you, Roy.
Well, Roy Francis was the coach of Leeds when I grew up supporting him, you know. I didn't know he was just, a good coach. And then when I got to know him, I made my debut under Eric Aston.
Right.
Roy Francis he'd left Leeds, he got to Australia, to North Sydney. And then Eric Aston was on here a year. And then they brought Roy Francis back, which I thought, oh, that's great. You know, I look forward to playing under him. And he was like, I said he was ahead of his time, but when I think about it, I don't think he was. I think that was just him.
Okay.
And he looked as though he was ahead of his time because he was so different. And he seemed to know everybody and get to know you. And he knew where my parents were, and he knew where my dad worked. And he'd done his own work. And when he spoke to you, you think, hang on a minute, this guy, he's interested in me, you know, and I'm going to play for him. And he was very clever and he was good. And one thing that Roy Francis did was fitness. Everything was fitness, you know. And he put us all on spikes, you know. First coach ever put us all the forwards on spikes and everything. And after a full day's working on the building site and everything else, and some of the lads were down the pit, sprinting up and down the cricket field, you know, and he'd make you till he was sick, you know, physically sick, right. You know. And I remember, and then he could go, because if he was sick, he thought he'd done enough play. And I remember once, and this is true, I had some fish and chips before training, so I make myself sick, and they said, oh, well done, you know, you've done well, like, so I was kidding him at the same time. But, you know, a fantastic bloke, yeah, really good coach, yeah.
Give us I'm curious, because you're talking about the cricket pitch there. So
yeah.
You trained on cricket pitch back then?
Oh, we trained on cricket pitch, yeah. We run round the cricket pitch. I don't know how far it is round there, but it's a long way.
Yeah, it is.
And we do 3 or 4 laps of that, and then we do sprints. And, yes, I remember Steve Pitchford saying, when we used to look at the cricket pitch, he said, I've done more runs on there than Jeff Boycott. And he did, you know. But everything was a joke. It was all funny, you know, we enjoyed ourselves.
Yeah.
And training was very hard. But we look forward to it, you know, we look forward to training. And because we're such a close-knit family that you look forward to going training, even though it was hard, after a hard day's work, that you was with your mates and taking the mickey and having a joke and then having a couple of pints afterwards if you had any money left from the weekend. And yeah, it was good fun. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
There's a few clues there. So really close mates, real hard work, and a coach that cares and shows that he cares because he's talking about the things that sometimes...
And we're just all like a big happy family, you know. I mean, it's hard to explain, but it was just one of the great times in my life. I've been so lucky, really, you know. Yeah. Even though there was no financial rewards as such in them days, but who cares, you know, like my dad says, what do you want about money? You're playing for Leeds. How many kids want to do that, you know? And that's true, really. Mate,
it could bring a tear to my eye, mate. I love that. And all these years later, whether it be Stevie Pitchford or David Ward, that generation of players still come together now at some of those Hall of Fame dinners.
We all keep in touch, yeah. We all keep in touch. Unfortunately, many times when we do see each other, it's somebody's funeral, you know, which is unfortunate. But yeah, because we're all getting to that age now where have you heard about so-and-so? And it's scary, really, you know. But we do keep in touch. And I always keep in touch with all the overseas players that usually come later on, because they were a big part of my life, only for a short period. But, you know, you don't want to lose that, you know, good friendships. Yeah, I keep in touch with all them and go take them out when they get to Australia and they fall out with their wives again. And you know, yeah.
We lost Sid Hines last year, and I bring up Sid because it's his birthday today.
It is today, yes.
And he was heritage number 1,000th player to play for Leeds. And I loved, you know, looking back, and you'll know a lot more than me, Roy. He talks about my boys, coached as a coach, and then he got you all as players. Just tell us a bit about that special human being and Sid's influence on that generation.
Well, everybody that knows Sid, he's like, even if you played against him, you knew Sid were on the park, you know, he was going to cough on sooner or later. He was a bit of a cowbag, to be honest, if I can say that. But what a great coach. And he succeeded Roy Francis, you see, did Sid. And obviously, Sid had played with everybody, you know, he knew us all. And his coaching was like, I don't need to tell you how to play. You know how to play. I've played with it, you know, like, so just go out and do your best, because that's good. And it's good enough to beat these people, you know. And it was great with Sid. And I went to see him last year when I heard he was ill. I was going to Perth anyway, and I changed my flight about 10 days early because I knew he was in hospital. So, but I missed him by about 4 hours. You know, he passed away while I was flying into Perth. Like, but I mentioned it that thing we did for him on the memorial where I bought him, because Sid likes a drop of scotch and I like a drop of scotch. And coming through the duty free, I'd got 2 big nice balls of scotch, one for Sid, one for me. I thought, well, we'll go to the hospital and we'll sup them. And then when my daughter picked me up, you know, and she'd only met Sid twice, and she went upset, you know, she's passed away, Dad. I went, oh, I said, well, I said, won't mind, I'll have to sup them. And you know, it broke the ice a bit, you know. But, he was very sad, actually, but he was a great guy, loved by a lot of people, yeah, great, and a great player, absolutely fantastic player. And he signed on for £50, you know.
Is that right?
He told me, he kept telling me, signed on for £50 from Hunslet. From Hunslet Schools or whatever it was. You know, at Leeds Nalgo, wasn't it? He played for Leeds Nalgo, actually, Rugby Union, I think it was.
Right.
And he said, but they all signed on at the same time. There was
Seaborn, was it?
Billy Ramsey, Barry Seaborn, Sid, and Albert Ayre. And he says, and we all got £50, but he said, Albert won't tell us what he got. So he said, I reckon he got a bit more. So, yeah.
I can see and hear and feel the gratitude that you've got when you're reminiscing, thinking back. I can certainly relate to that. When you was a youngster watching Leeds Rugby League, just tell us about the inspiration that the club, the team had on you and how it influenced your decision to play the game yourself.
Well, I always wanted to play for Leeds because my dad was a mad Leeds fan, and so was my mother, by the way. They used to stand in the same place in the South Stand ever since I can remember, even when I was playing, and you know, everybody knew him in the South Stand. And my ambition was to play for Leeds, and you know, I used to come and watch him. I never paid in. I used to climb up the lamppost in the Ginnell and jump over the fence, and somebody must have told him when they put a copper there once. And it's a funny story because I got to know this copper quite well later on in life, because he used to open the gate when we used to run down. And because he used to say, I remember you bloody so-and-so, you know. And he knew I was coming on the weekend, but he couldn't do what about it, you know. And I used to jump off, and he was like a goalkeeper. And if I went that way, and he went that way, I'd run off into the crowd, and he couldn't catch me. And if he caught me, he'd march me out to St Michael's Headingley Lane End. And then I'd run down the Ginnell and up the lamppost before he could get back and jump in. And he was always there, and he knew I was coming. And then he reckoned that if I fired up, you know, he hadn't seen me, you know, he'd look the other way, and I'd see him, and he'd jump in. And I know his name was Dennis Middleton, I think it was. I got to know him very well, actually.
Love it.
Yeah, smashing fella. They were local Bobby at Horsforth on the beat there. Yeah.
Who were some of your heroes, Roy, that you used to like watching?
Oh, all of them, really, you know.
Yeah.
The funny thing for me was everything like a dream come true. I used to run on the field and get the tie-ups and that, you know, and get their autographs and queue up. And then 2 or 3 years later, I sat in the bathroom, been playing in the same side, you know. So it was like a dream come true for me, really, yeah.
Well, tell me about your debut. So your family stood out there, you stood at the same spot, and to see, Roy, come out in the Leeds shirt.
I was subbing, by the way. I was subbing, actually. To say I had butterflies is an understatement. I did the other thing that comes to mind, but I got on, you know, and the other sub was Paul Fletcher, a lifelong friend from school, and we grew up together. He's a little bit older than me, Paul. And he'd already played before, and he was calming me down because I was shaking, you know, and then trying to get me caught up, and oh, you'll be all right, just get on and just do your thing. But as soon as he take the first ball up, and I didn't drop it, I was frightened to death when I dropped the first ball. And I thought, oh, that's it, my career's over. But you know, once he got into it, that was it. Then he was like buzzing about, you know. Yeah. Couldn't wait. And I did quite well because I'd played a lot of games as a youngster, you know, at 17, and I just thought, well, this is my chance, you know. If I fluff it, no, you know, I'm not gonna fluff this. No way, mate.
And I remember some of those the bits of footage there where you're on the bench and you're punching the air, and you play obviously part of that Challenge Cup winning team those 2 years there. Tell us a little bit about that moment, because it was a special time and still is a special time in the club's history.
Yeah, that was just, like I say, a dream come true for me, because I'd always dreamt that is something I wanted to do, was play at Leeds, play for Leeds at Wembley. And I always remember when I was a youngster and I was maybe about 10 or 11, and I mean, my parents would let me stop up late on a Saturday night because I no school Sunday, and as you maybe won't know, but the telly used to go off at midnight in them days, and that was it. There was only like 3 channels, BBC, 1, 2 and ITV, I think. And then they played God Save the Queen when the telly went off, and I used to stand up in front of the telly and she, what are you doing? I said, I'm playing for Leeds at Wembley, man. And then that when it happened, I was thinking of that, I was thinking, this is it, this is it, how good is this? Yeah, fantastic, yeah.
Those affirmations, and I guess we've had chats, haven't we, in the past, where I've got experiences of travelling down to Wembley in the preparation, bit different for you guys in your day, I think. Did you stay at Crystal Palace? What was the build-up like?
Oh, man, you know what Leeds are like, spending money, and they were worse in them days. And we stopped at Crystal Palace Sports Centre, and it's like Carnegie College in Leeds, where all the students was off, because it was like close to term or whatever it was. So Sid Hines would say, great, come. We're all enjoying ourselves, and he said, night before game, he says, if you don't mind, he said, don't worry about it. He said, we're at Wembley, I said, we're going to enjoy yourself, win or lose, we're having a great time, some of you have been before, some of you will come again, he said, and some of you maybe don't deserve to be here, so we're all here, and we're going to make sure we enjoy it, so come on, we'll all go out and have a drink and that night. So anyway, we're great, I thought, this is all right, so we all goes out and had a drink, and coming back, there was a fair on the grounds, like a was called a feast in Leeds, and anyway, we're all coming back, they'd had a few pints, and it's 10:30 or so at night, and then they're all having a go, and toffee apples and getting duck something and all this, and on the waltzes and the dodgems, and we were playing a cup final in the morning, and then getting back into the room, which was like a big dormitory, we're all snoring and making other noises through the night, and you'd get in, and then somebody put like some toffee apple in your bed, and some candy floss, what's going off here? And you go to the sink and wash your hands, there's goldfish in the sink, and I'm thinking, no, what a preference. And then we hardly slept, because everyone was laughing and telling jokes and that, But we got up in the morning, had a run and had some breakfast, and everybody was buzzing,
yeah,
and happy, no nerves or anything,
Plays a big part, that, doesn't it? Happy.
Yeah, and you're with all your best friends, which was great, we'd have gone to war for each other,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who was your closest friend? You had many, but...
Well, to be honest, no. We was all close, everybody was very, very close. Even the seasons internationals, like, Sid and John Atkinson and Alan Smith and Les Dill, and I could go through the whole team, they was all part, just like, he was my mate and I was his mate, and there were no... I'm better than you sort of thing. Everybody helps everybody, that's the main thing. And we all got by because you had to do, if somebody missed a tackle, you had to cover for him, and same thing, and you make up for it. It's a great thing, I'll make up for that, somebody else. So whatever, but yeah, we just played so much together as a team, as a family, we loved each other really, and we still do,
And that was an era when you had to look after each other, because the game was very different and you had some formidable foreign opposition.
Oh, yes, the game was brutal at times.
In your opposition as well, I imagine it was...
Yeah, I didn't always look like this, But no, I mean, we enjoyed it, it. And to be honest, it was only brutal for so long because you got to know each other, and then you had like mutual respect, and it was like, you don't hate me and I will hate you, and I thought, that's good as this, I can get through this game, but no, and we're all pals, even the opposition are pals,
Yeah.
All through till this day, everybody keeps in touch with them, especially now with Facebook and that, you wouldn't speak to these people, but we do. We still take the mickey out of each other.
Love it.
Yeah, it's great.
And back then, who were causing all the carnage? Who were some of the players you had to duck?
Oh, every team had an enforcer, at least one, and the worst ones, one of the biggest, toughest ones, the worst ones, the cheeky halfback, because they'd poke you in the eye and kick you and grab you somewhere and run off, you couldn't catch them, But, and they were all good fun, like you said, I'll get you, oh yeah, well, you can't catch me. But it was good banter, it's good banter,
Yeah. And you had a spell in Australia as well, we were just chatting there. How did you enjoy that at the time?
Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I had 2 spells in Australia, actually, but unfortunately, the time when I went, there was an international ban on because all the best players had been going out there.
Right.
Because there was a little bit more money in Australia at the time. And the Rugby League in the wisdom put an international ban on, and I got this chance to go, and I thought, well, I sold along, I had an old Fiat card or something, or whatever it was, and I got 300 quid for it, and that was a one-way fare then. So I thought, I'm off, and I went, but I had to play under another name, which was Roy Dickinson. I couldn't think of anything. So what's your name? And Roy Dickinson. And I said, oh, that, yeah. And I did that for a while. And it was only in a Group 6 in Sydney, but it was a tough league.
Love it.
Really tough league. And then I went again in 81, and I played a few games all over because I was on holiday, and just jumping in with people that I'd met before, and who can play and have a game. But I ended up playing in Perth, believe it or not. There was only 8 or 9 teams, but that was... It wasn't as tough, but it was good. It's good fun. But I played under the name of Jack Clark, who was the landlord of my local pub in East Street. And he says, if you send me some programmes back with my name in Jack Clark, I'll give you £100, which was a lot of money then. So I did, that was good. But everybody's called me Jack, and I wouldn't listen. They thought I was like, oh, that's me. Yeah. So, but that was a great time, yeah.
Love it.
And I got picked for Western Australia and that thing and all.
Really?
I'm not kidding, yeah.
So was it a game?
They played Northern Territory.
Wow.
And the guy who was the coach, I'd played about a dozen games this time. And this was on TV over there. And I went and seen the coach and I said, listen, mate, I don't think I should be playing in here. I said, because my name's not Jack Clark. And he says, I know we are, I said, but want to beat these buggers, So I didn't get away with it, really.
Jack Clark, mate, I'm going to make a password out of that. Or Roy Dickinson, you've basically just taken off the DI off the foot.
I don't know how I said that, it just come to me. It's just one of them things,
Love it. It'd be like me, Jamie Cannon.
I wasn't thinking, I wasn't thinking, but I didn't care because I was on holiday, I was enjoying myself.
Back then, rivalries, so obviously 1980s, I think Origins started, but back in the UK, who were some of Leeds' biggest rivals? Who were the mortal enemy?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody wanted to beat Leeds, everybody raised we felt to me as everybody's going to raise the game, and they did, wanted to beat Leeds. And Castleford, they hated us, and Wakefield hated us, and Hull hated us, and Hull Yard hated us, and I think everybody hated us, really, and especially when you go up to Cumbria and them places, and Featherstone, that was Featherstone. I think I got sent off at Featherstone once, and this old lady was braying me with the umbrella coming through the gate, and I was saying, get off me, you silly old cow. And when I went for my tea, she was making the tea, and so I thought, I won't bother like that. I'm not going to bother here. So I think her name was Annie, if I can remember, because it's a long time ago. But Featherstone, that was notorious. On the Boulevard as well, that was, oh God,
I played once there. Yeah, that was an experience.
Yeah. I always remember there, and I subbed first time I went to the Boulevard, and the dugouts was on the far side in the threatening stand where it was just full of, idiots, if I can say that, but they were all fanatical, all supporters, and they hated us, and my coat, I was subbing, and coat was covered in all sorts of stuff, and I always remember the language, and that was just the women and children, and I thought it was safer on the field. I'll wait for somebody to get injured so I could go on. But yeah, that was it. I don't think I ever won there, at Boulevard. Right. I think we drew once, and I won there for Great Britain against France. I think that under 24s. It might have been I think it was under 24s, yeah.
Wow.
But it was a nightmare. Graveyard for Leeds, was that, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
For those who don't remember that far back, that's Hull FC, where they used to play back in the day, and it was interesting. You mentioned Great Britain there, Roy, in International Rugby League. Being a local kid from Bramley playing for your hometown club and how much that meant to you, what was it like to put an international shirt on?
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, yeah. The first time, under 24s, it's brilliant, again, like a dream come true, why me? Why me? It just, everything seems to happen at a young age. But yeah, we played in France, and I've played in some dirty games, but they called it the Battle of Albi, early 70s, and oh God, it was just a fight from start to finish, and we won. And then we got barricaded in the dressing rooms because the crowd was going to kill us. And they says, well, we'll have to wait when police come to give us escort out. But I wasn't bothered because they'd left all the beer in the dressing room. So, tell them to check the time. Yeah, but they played in France a few times. Always tough in France. But great experience, and I'm playing against the Australians as well, for the under-24s. We played them at Hull KR. They beat us about 30 points, I think. But it was just a fantastic, great, how good is this, don't get any better really,
No. And what about Yorkshire, Lancashire? Did they have that?
Yeah, I played Yorkshire, Lancashire. That was the best medal I ever got. If you beat Lancashire and you beat Cumbria, you got like a winner's medal, and that was the best.
Love it.
Best one I ever had, and I gave that to a girl, and I never got it back. To put around the neck,
I've never seen one of them. That's some memory.
Yeah. They were the best ones,
Yeah.
Really good. They won't do them again, will they?
No. But closest you can get to one of them medals is if you run the Leeds Marathon and York Marathon, you get a special Yorkshire Marathon medal. But mate, that's class, and I'm gutted in a way that it was something I never experienced, and I believe they wanted to bring it back this year. The kids, the academy are playing in one. I believe the women's team playing in one. The international men's team didn't divide and playing it, but I'd love to see that be brought back. I think listening to your stories, and you've got a million of them, I've listened to so many, Roy, and I never get bored. It just comes across in droves how much you appreciate you walking the game of rugby league. There's a lot of players, though, that finish it and have a bitterness and a resentment almost and disappear. And I understand if the game's not for you anymore and it's changing, life moves on, but I also think there's an element of needing to tell those stories to help us younger people, and even the younger people understand the shoulders on which we stand and what the game was like, where we've all come from. So why do you think you've always had the connection with the game?
I've always been in love with the game. It's been my life. It's been so good to me, like from a kid from a council estate in Bramley, to achieve everything that I ever wanted to achieve. And, it's took me all over the world, really, For a kid that started with nothing, and still got most of that left, by the way. And it's, it took me to France, like I say, and Australia and New Zealand, and I met so many great people through rugby league, and it's opened lots of doors that would never have opened, And like I say, I even went to Moscow once on the way back from Australia, but as you know, in Russia, everything ends in off, so I didn't stop long. But it's just like how good it's been, through being, well, he could have been just a normal person, like which we are, but by playing rugby league, it's opened so many doors and meet so many different people. And so it's been a fantastic life, I've been very, very fortunate, and I feel very lucky, really.
And when you leave to go to Australia, and we want it to be really positive, I'll miss you, mate, big time. And I hope you have a wonderful time out there, and you will, and I'm sure you'll come back and visit us. But just reflecting on Leeds Rugby League, the blue and amber, I'm getting a bit emotional myself. What will you miss the most, Roy, about Leeds and this great club?
Oh, I don't know, really. I've done everything I've ever wanted to do in Leeds. I'm always Leeds through and through, Even when I went to play for Halifax, I was always looked at Leeds result first, But funny enough, when I played at Halifax, we played Leeds. I think we played Leeds 5 times. We beat them 4 times, which I was quite pleased about, actually, because But I'd still rather been on the other side, And then I went on to play at Bramley, and I had 3 good seasons at Bramley. I enjoyed myself at Bramley, and I got sacked there at Bramley because player coach because we kept winning. They didn't want to pay the winning pay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so we can't pay any more winning pay. And I said, well, we're supposed to win now, So I told all the lads, and they went mad, And we played Batley away. The last one I played in. Well, I didn't play because I said I'm not playing then. And I told the lads in the dressing room, but it made them fire him more. And they drew, and it were 8-8. Now, winning pay away from home in them days was a draw away from home. It was winning pay, but they never got it. They got losing pay. And I'm off now.
Good grief.
That's it. Yeah.
Go down in the 4th. What about that? And I suppose then as well, I'm just thinking back to when I was a kid playing at my community club, Stanningley, and I'd see you playing with open age, big Roy Dickinson, still part of it. You used to do a little bit behind the barn, give me a head of rub and give me all kinds of encouragement. You was even there, Roy, when I signed for Leeds. Dean Bell, my lad, quite emotional actually. My lad, obviously, he just signed on, and he's got hopefully a tough bit of work to do for a potential future in front of him. But I reflected back on my journey. You came that day when I signed my first contract with Dean Bell, and you was in car going, "We're not signing today. We're going to go and have a look and a bit of a chat." And as soon as he put it in front of me, I was,
that's a lot better than what I thought. Yeah, well done. And it was great because they said, didn't they? They said, "We'll give you that much now, and that's a great start. It's up to you now to better that." And he did, and that's great, isn't it?
I remember.
It's absolutely the best way to do it,
Yeah.
Put that carrot in front of them every year and improve.
And how important is Standing Lane, some of those community clubs being, I think, for a game? Because you did invest a lot of your time and energy into it.
Yeah. The first one was Bramley Social Club before Stanley.
Right.
And I really enjoyed my time at Bramley Social Club. They're a great set of lads. And we went up like 3 divisions because I was just wanting to win all the time to win. But they were used to a lot easier type of game. And they pulled me in the end, they said, "Right, we'd like to go down a bit now. It's getting too hard, is this?" And it was my fault, really. And then I totally understood it, and that's when I went to Stanley. And then we did the same at Stanley. We had a great time there. I had about 6 years or so at Stanley, and we won everything. And a great bunch of lads, absolutely fantastic, and some fantastic natural players,
Yeah.
Brilliant players, and some nutters, as you know. But it was a great time. I really enjoyed it, yeah.
It was amazing. What, just your own competitive nature, where do you think that came from in your youth?
I didn't know I had one, really. I used to enjoy everything I did, and get stuck in. That was it. And I didn't have nothing any different to anybody else. It's just something I wanted to do,
Sure, yeah.
I didn't want to lose, definitely, but you do sometimes, I didn't want to lose, and I wanted to do my best every week,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to really fall out with anybody or hurt anybody, and that's why we've all become friends over the years,
Of course.
and that's it. And if I did hurt somebody, you feel guilty in a sense, because I didn't mean that, but it does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does happen, and the same's happened to me. I've had everything broken over the years, and all my teeth gone missing, and my kids used to say, "Dad, where's all your teeth gone?" And I used to say, "Warrington, Hull, Featherstone, Wigan, and Castleford, I think, but it happens to everybody,
Yeah,
but now
sure.
everybody's all gum shielded up and everything, so
Sure.
it didn't matter, we just get on with it.
It'll be an end of an era, Roy, not seeing you most weeks. And I guess just to finish then, talking about end of an era, I want to pay a little bit of tribute to Gary Hetherington and the formation of the Leeds Rhinos in 1997. It was born out of his vision. He created that. Obviously, his time's been phenomenal, and we're celebrating his end of that journey as a in that current role. But just tell us a little bit about Gary and what he's done for the club.
Well, Gary played in the A team with me at Leeds. I believe he's from Castleford or Pontefract or somewhere, isn't he? Originally, I don't know. And he's quite a good player, to be honest, with Gary, and a good hooker too. But we had Tony Fisher here, and then we had David Ward, and then Gary. And he's like, you'd no chance of getting a game unless they got injured or played terrible, which they never did. And then I think he had a few games in the second row, but I think he played about a dozen games, I'm not sure. But I think he moved to York, I believe. I think he moved to York. I don't know how long he stopped at York. And then obviously, later on, he started up with Sheffield Eagles, didn't he? And, he did a tremendous job when they won at Wembley. Absolutely tremendous against Wigan.
Yeah.
Gary. So, I mean, Gary's heart's in the game, he's done, and to say like what he's done at Leeds is with Paul Carrick as well. We've got to mention Paul because I think he had a joint venture sort of thing. And he's done an absolutely fantastic job. And I think it's about the right time for him to change, because he can only do so much, and then it goes downhill. And I wish him all the best. He's a great bloke.
I think for me, my journey here since being 15-year-old, what stands out, and I didn't probably realise it or appreciate it as much at that time, is the heritage committees, the ex-players association, the events, the Hall of Fames that he's put on. He's had a desire to keep those old guard together, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does a great job in that sense, He does a great job. He tries his best, I don't know what the circumstances are or what pressure he's under, but he certainly does. And everybody said when they've been before that how good was that, that was fantastic. And there's only Leeds could do that, and even players that come from the other clubs say, there's only Leeds could do this, It's great,
It's been special. How would you sum it up, his time at the Leeds Rhinos, reflecting on it?
Well, he's done as much as he can possibly do, hasn't he? I mean, it's not been a bad, has it? You know, it's been quite successful, to say the least, you know. So, yeah, brilliant, you know. And if you look back on all the success, you know, from where there was, Leeds, because I think Leeds could have gone under, you know, at one time. They were absolutely skint. Paul come in and Gary come in and manage it all. And, yeah, take me out to him, yeah. Save the club.
Brilliant. And I guess the most important question then, Roy, is when you do go to Australia, am I going to inherit the Baron of Bramley title or what?
You can have it with pleasure, pal. Yeah, yeah. I won't bother if I don't see Bramley again. It was fantastic years ago. It's not so good now. Yeah.
I still love it, mate.
Yeah.
So, Roy, thanks for joining us on Box 2. I hope we get another opportunity to do this again, because I know you've got a million stories and I'd love to hear what your experiences are like in Australia. If you've not read this book yet about Roy Francis, one of the best coaches ever to step foot here at Edinburgh, and the former coach of Roy Dickinson's, please do check that out. Wonderful bit of reading. But in the meantime, take care. Thanks for joining us in Box 2.